Clicking on the app. Let's do it from the beginning. Clicking on it. And then you have privacy policy. Hold down the frog button for 3 seconds. You have another, but it's the same method. I need to hold it. And it's taking you to the internet, to the privacy policy. Then I'm going back to the app. Okay. The default need to be read to me. And then, or I'm clicking on the book. In our, it can be on the background, or you can do start.
Alice's Adventures in
see?
Wonderland by Lewis Carroll.
This is how it's supposed to walk. Here you go. This one you did good.
Alice's Adventures
Look here.
in Wonderland by Lewis. All in the golden.
This is how it's supposed to walk.
Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5.
With the sound effect.
Chapter 1. Down the rabbit hole.
You're clicking.
Chapter 1.
The key need to be in the top. Then you can move
beginning
it.
to get very tired of sitting by her sister on the bank and of having nothing to do. Once or twice, she had peeped into the book her sister was reading, but it had no
This is
pictures
how
or
you need to do.
conversations in it. There was nothing so
One
very
click.
remarkable in that, nor did Alice
And
think
it's
it was so
walking.
very much out of the way to hear the rabbit say to itself, oh dear, I shall be late. When she thought, the rabbit hole went straight on like a tunnel for some way, and then dipped suddenly down, so suddenly that
And then you
Alice
can
had
move
not
them.
a moment to think about stopping herself before
And
she
play with
found
them.
herself
Do whatever
falling
you want.
down
It's
what
like
seemed
need to be.
a very deep well.
You can't really, but they can turn to do every crazy stuff.
For she had, well, down. It was all very well to say drink me.
Sound
But
effect.
the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry. No, I'll look first, she said, and see whether it's marked poison or not. What a curious. But it's no use now, thought poor
It's
Alice.
supposed to be open
pretend
to.
be two people.
Here you go.
Why, there's hardly enough of me left to make one respectable person. To be sure.
You
this
see,
is
until
what
here the border.
happens when one eats cake. But Alice had got so
play with
much
this.
into the way of expecting nothing but out of the way things to happen.
This is how it's supposed to
Dull
walk.
and stupid for life to go. Chapter 2. The Pool of Tears. Curious, sir, and
That's it.
curious, sir. And
It's
she went on
automatically
planning
walking.
to herself how she would manage it. They must go by the carrier, she thought. And how funny it'll seem.
That's it.
sending
Now it's the
presents
game.
to one's own feet. And how odd the directions will
Here
look.
you go.
Alice's right foot, Esquire, hearthrug, near the fender, with Alice's love. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking. Just at that moment, her head struck against the roof of the hall. In fact, she was... You ought to be ashamed.
Look.
I'll try if I know all the things I used to
This is
know.
how it's supposed to
Let me
walk.
see.
That's
4
it.
times 5 is 12, and 4... How cheerfully... And she ran with all speed back to the little...
Look how much the beautiful it's walking the PNG smoothly
And the little gold key
and
was
fast.
lying on the glass table as before.
Look.
And things are worse than ever.
On the iPhone it's looking terrible. Look.
Never was so
Beautiful.
slow as this before, never. And I declare it too. Oh, I wish I had
The
tried
video,
so much.
look,
So
beautiful
she
Alice.
swam about, trying to
It's
find
automatically
her.
walking.
I shall be punished for it now, I suppose. by
Sound
being
effect.
drowned in my own tears. That will be a queer thing, to be sure. However,
That's
everything
it.
is queer today. Just then, she heard something splashing. So she began. Whee!
Here you go. Birds, animation of birds. You need to take it from the iPad. Look, the background moving. Beautiful. Look, birds, loop of birds, and sound effect.
Chapter 3. Edward and Morcar, the Earls
This was
of
missing.
Mercia and Northumbria.
And that was missing. Look, beautiful.
With a shiver. I beg your pardon?
That's
Said
it.
the mouse, frowning, but very politely. The mouse did not notice
This is a nice thing that in the iPad
found it advisable to go with
we don't need
Edgar
it.
Aveling to meet with. There was no
Birds.
1, 2, 3 and away, but they began running when they liked and left off when they liked, so that it was not easy to know. Why, mine? You are not attending, said the mouse to Alice.
Sound effect.
What are you thinking of? I beg your pardon. Please come back and finish your story. Chapter 4. She went in without. She hastily put. Oh. Now tell me, Pop.
Look.
Oh, so Bill's got to come down the chimney, has he? Said Alice to herself. Why, they seem to put everything upon Bill. I wouldn't be in Bill's place for a good deal. This fireplace, the first. So she swallowed one of the cakes and was delighted to find that she began shrinking directly. As soon as she was small enough to get through, hardly knowing what she did, she picked up a little bit of stick and held it out to the puppy.
Look.
Whereupon the puppy jumped into the air off all of its feet at once. This seemed Chapter 5. You, said the caterpillar contemptuously. Who are you? Which brought them
Beautiful, you need to take this asset from the iPad.
Alice felt a little irritated at the caterpillar's making such very short remarks, and she drew herself up and said very gravely, I think
And it's a
you want
loop.
to tell me who you are first. Why? Said the caterpillar. Here was another puzzling question, and as Alice could not think of any good reason, and the caterpillar seemed to be in a very unpleasant state of mind, she turned away. Come back, the caterpillar.
And again, I'll show you.
I've something important to say. It sounded promising, certainly. Alice turned and came back again. Keep your temper, said the caterpillar. Is that all? Said Alice, swallowing down her anger as well as she could. No, said the caterpillar.
Here you have a replay button, but on the iPhone it will be here. You see? This is the replay, exactly like this need to look. It will be here.
Alice thought she
This
might as well
moving,
wait
and
as
then
she had
that's
nothing else to
moving.
do, and perhaps, after all, it might tell him, you are old, said the youth, as I mentioned before, and have grown most uncommon.
You're clicking on it, it's the video.
The back somersault in at that door. Pray, what is the reason of that? In my youth, said the sage, as he shook his grey locks,
And then again,
I kept all my limbs very
it's a
supple.
loop.
By the use of this ointment, one
And this is a loop too.
Allow me to sell you a couple. You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finish the goose with the bones and the... You
And
are
this is the
old,
game.
said the youth. One would hardly
You need to
suppose
balance the
that your
snake.
eye was as steady as ever,
And if not,
yet you
play again.
balanced an eel on the end of your
Oops.
nose. What
So this
made
is
you
the
so
game.
awfully clever?
Balance the snake.
I have answered 3 questions,
Oops.
and that is enough, said the father. Don't give yourself airs. Well, I should like to be a
This is
little
the mushroom.
closer, if you don't mind, said Anna. She was a good deal frightened.
Automatically,
She succeeded in
this is a small game.
down into a graceful
Catch your
zigzag,
hand,
and was going to dive in among
the dove,
leaves, which she found to be
and then it's
nothing
going
but
faster and
the trees
faster.
under which she had been wandering. I've tried the... This, Chapter 6, Pig and Pepper. For a minute
You
or
can
two, she stood
drone
in
it,
the house,
then you can
wondering
move
what to do
them,
next,
look.
When suddenly a footman in livery came running out of the wood. It was...
Look.
At this moment, the door of the house opened and a large plate came skimming out straight at the footman's head. It just grazed his nose and broke.
This is the only interactive thing. She's throwing the pets. The pot. That's it.
Please. Oh, of course. As this time, there could be no mistake about it. It was neither more or less than a pig, and she felt that it would be quite absurd for her to
That's
carry
it.
it any further. I call it purring, not
His
growling,
eyes
said Alice.
going
Call it what you like.
through
Said the cat.
follow my
Do you
finger.
play croquet
Look.
with the queen today?
And there
I
you
should
can
like it
manipulate
very
them.
much, said
Here,
Alice,
you
but
see?
I haven't been invited yet.
They're going left and right.
You'll see me there,
Really cool.
said the cat. Alice
One
waited,
click.
half expecting to see it again, but it did not appear, and after a minute or two she walked on in the direction in which the March Hare was set to live. Well,
Look, the head, the head's moving, everything moving, you see? Beautiful. Alice moving.
Alice looked all
Can
around
move
the table, but there
this
was nothing
back
on
and
the
forth.
tea.
If not,
I don't see any wine, she remarked. There isn't any. Said
that's
the March
it.
Hare.
And disappearing.
You might. The dormer. Nothing. A bright idea came into
Time
Alice's
in.
head. Is that the reason so many tea things are put out here? She asked.
It's going inside.
That's it, said the Hatter with a sigh.
And
it's
that's it.
always tea time, and we've no time to wash the things between whiles. Then you keep moving round, I suppose, said Alice. Exactly so, said the Hatter, as the things get used up. The doormat, the door, this time. Once
This
more
is the only
she found
game?
herself in the long hall and close to the little glass table.
With sound effect.
Now I'll manage better this time. Chapter 8.
You're clicking here
Queen's Croquet Ground.
and they're painting the
A large rose tree
rose.
stood near the entrance of the garden.
And again,
Roses growing on it were white, but there
So
was
it's a loop.
gardeners at it, busily painting them red. Alice thought this a very curious thing.
you can choose
She went near
any
to
one
watch
that you
them,
want
and
to paint the
just
rose.
as she came up to them, she heard one of them say, "Look out now, Five. Don't go splashing paint over me." What? Next came
The queen moving. And they are moving too. That's it. Alice not moving. Birds in the background. In a loop. You see? You need to bring them random. They coming. You see? Birds need to be in landscapes and sound loop.
the king lady. Push!
This is the play instructions. And then it's flickering, the people won't miss it. Now you're playing the game. For example, you're clicking on the queen and you need to put the ball inside the card or 2 points. We can choose any one that you want. And they are trying, oh, you see, to disturb the game. And 3 times you can't do it, that's it, like game over. So you need always to try to put the ball inside the card. 3 times you miss it, game over.
And when she had got its head down and was going to begin again, it was very provoking to find that the hedgehog had unrolled itself.
It's coming, walking.
Crawling away.
Can play with
Besides all
this.
this,
That's
there
it.
was generally a ridge or a furrow in the way wherever she wanted to send the hedgehog to. And as the doubled up, Alice waited till a cat may look. By the time the cat's head
This is
began
a small
fading away
game.
the moment he was
Oops.
gone, and by the
Trying
time
to
he had
catch
come
his
back,
hand,
the Duchess
head.
had entirely disappeared. So the king and
Look,
the executioner
one-
ran wildly up and down looking for it, while the rest of the party went back to the game.
Do it the same.
Chapter 9, The Mock Turtle Story.
It's working
You
automatically.
can't think how glad I am to see you again.
You can play with the ball.
Dear old thing,
Stopping.
said the Duchess, as she tugged her arm.
And then they continue,
affectionately
but you
into
can play
Alice's,
with them.
And they walked off together.
Too.
Alice was very glad. She quite. He might not. Thinking
It's a loop.
again?
That's it.
The Duchess asked, with another dig of her. The Duchess took her.
The entrance. You can move them. Look, the head is turning. That's it. sound effect.
They very, so they went up to
You're clicking, Alice moving, and he's moving. And again.
and look, the griffin. What a curious plan.
And this is like a dance. If you move, tilting the iPad, it's moving. No, it's stopping. And it's the same here. You need to move it. Stopping, stop. Look, the shadow, it's moving too.
Will you? I can
You're
tell
clicking
you
on
all
it,
of that
it's
if you
open.
like, said the griffin. Do you
Double
know why
click,
it's called
close.
a whiting? I never thought about it. Said they were how the creep. Alice did not
Clicking
dare
on
to
it.
disobey, though she felt
It's walking.
sure it would all come wrong. And she went on with a trembling voice. I passed by his garden and marked with one eye how the owl and the shall we chapter.
When you're tilting it, the head's moving. Everything is moving, you see? They're walking inside it, they're not affecting on it from it. But then you can move them, and here. Look, her foot moving, everything is moving. So, you see? That's it.
The 12 jurors were all right.
Here you can manipulate it,
What are they doing?
the
Alice
ant.
whispered to the griffin.
You can play with
They
them.
can't have anything to put down yet before the trial.
They follow after your hand.
They're putting down their names. The griffin
But then,
replied, for fear they should forget them.
when they're taking the cookie,
Stupid
you can't play
things.
with this. That's it. It's automatically the coin to take the cookies. That's
But she
it.
stopped herself hastily. A nice muddle there. The hatter,
One
with
click.
large hair, who had followed him into the court, arm in arm with the dormouse.
But then if you're trying
think it was,
to do,
he said.
you see the head is moving.
Said the March hare.
Click, everything is moving. You see? Everything moving. Stop, stop moving.
Give your ready. I'm the poor man. Here. The next, chapter 12.
Look, that's it.
Chapter 12.
You see how they're moving a little bit? Kind of slow motion, all of them. And then when you're clicking, that's it. Then the next page.
Had a little recovered from the shock of being upset, and their slates.
Look how much is beautiful, the page is
Everybody looked at
flipping.
Alice. I'm not a mile high.
You're
Said
clicking
Alice.
on it,
You are, said the
and
king.
then it's doing it.
Nearly 2 miles high. The king turned. Then, if I.
This is the video. You don't need to do nothing there. Just add the sound effect.
Ho!
This is the current
She
time.
told about little Alice herself. Once again, the tiny hand.
That it's in New York 11 o'clock. So you will need to do the same thing.
She could hear them. So she sat.
You're clicking on it, unlock me, everything is appearing. And then here you have links, and it's the same concept. If you're clicking on the background, it's disappearing. But if you hold down the frog button for 3 seconds, so if I'm holding here, it will take me to the internet, to the link that it's there. That's it. I don't want clicking. That's it. Look, the page moving beautifully. Look, beautiful. And this is, look, how it's working beautifully. The text, you're clicking on it, taking you. That's it. This is how it's supposed to work. Thank you.